Hey everybody, it's Chris and welcome back to Something Else Amiga. This time on the channel is another repair, and this one is a unique, interesting one. This one comes to us up north in Canada from Mr. Adam. So Adam, here's your girl. Adam sent me a small note and some cool things. The story with this is Adam's uncle recently passed. Sorry for your loss, Adam. He was gifted or given or has his uncle's Amiga 4000D that needs to be taken a look at. So I'll read you a little bit of the note. Apologies if I look down. His Uncle John ends the first chapter of the Amiga in his family. His older brother, Bill, was the founder of a small business called Valley Soft out of Ontario. Bill was responsible for the sales and acquisition while John worked in advertising and promotion. Adam was quite young, doesn't really know how well it did as a business. They did become a licensed Commodore and NewTek dealer, and they were selling Lightwave and video toaster packages towards the end of the business's run. His hope that Valley Soft was regarded well in the Amiga community and treated their customers well. He remembers his Uncle Bill being on the phone a lot of hours with clients and wholesalers from all over the world. He was a guy with a great sense of humor and laughed a lot while making those calls. He went through a lot of rolls of tape helping him pack orders, got his first experience running a small business at a young age, and he gave him his first crack shot at direct sales on trade shows. They even had his photo in an issue of Amazing Computing, he thinks it was, helping out at a show in Montreal. This 4000 belonged to my Uncle John. He designed presentations in Scala for trade shows, flyers, business card, t-shirts, etc. I know that both of my uncles suffered from severe depression despite all the laughter, and sometimes that can make running a business or even getting out of bed hard to do. I'm going to do my best to carry on this Amiga legacy, rescuing as much of the old tech as I can find, spreading the word and sharing the experience about Amiga with friends as often as possible. He hopes to eventually get some music or art into one of the yearly competitions in the nearest future. That'll be fitting work for this 4000 if I can resurrect it. Or thank you, Adam. P.S. I've sent along a couple of Valley Soft t-shirts for you and a business card as well. So here is the business card. Valley Soft, your Amiga source. It was in Pembroke, Ontario. These shirts are going to need a wash. They stink. But they're cool. And you got the fat guy size, so I appreciate that. Here's the front. It's got the Amiga logo-ish, Amiga wording. It has a boing ball on the back. This sticker is very hard. And it basically gives you a website, Valley Soft, your Amiga source, the address, a telephone number, fax number, and a email address running around the ring of the boing ball. The second one, I dropped on the floor, is a white one of the same thing. This one decal's a lot softer. The other one's very hard, and I don't want to mess with it. My wife said she can soften it up with a pillowcase inside out in the dryer. But isn't that cool? Thank you for these shirts, Adam. I will wear them after I give them a wash because they're a little bit old. they smell like your grandmom's attic, but I greatly appreciate it. And you'll be seeing your t-shirts in this video later on and future videos because it's just cool to have Amiga t-shirts, vintage gear, and anything new. Also, I have a lot of different t-shirts and goofy things throughout. Did you see that? Hold on. Yeah. Alright. Static bracelets on. We have the Rev B daughter card. We also have the 2300, aka the 3630. That's going to get some new caps because those are leaky. This does not have the clock on it. Some of these have an external clock that you could call. You leave them both set to internal and it will use the FPU clock of the board and the FPU either PGA or PLCC. This is a QFP 6803025. Good conditions, not all smashed down like the quadruple T was. Here's the motherboard with some RAM in it, 12 megs and 2 megs of chip probably. Sockets are original, so you've got to be careful with these plastic tabs. I don't have any more sockets. I do have 90s, but they wouldn't work in here. We've got a Super Buster 11, 3.0 ROMs, the O2 Fat Gary, 07 Ramsey, that's a good combo, 7 and 11, just like the store. CBM model Lisa, not the HP, the CSG Alice in May of '93, This is a 1993. This is a 1993 chip. So these are last runs. Capacitors are leaky and puffy. I don't know the extent of the acid damage. There is the normal freaking Death 891 and C192 that are gooped up. U177 is we have them. Hate taking that off because I always blow the pins. I'm going to start with the preliminary. Let's see what the hell happened. Gotta fix it anyway, right? Powering on the unit. And here we go. We have fan spin. You know what helps? Be on VGA. Might help. And this is nothing. Not a nilch. Nothing. Go figure. 1 and 2 close. Okay, so we got our jumpers in. Let's put the CPU back in. Energize. Do we get a display this time? No. Not even a color change. Not even an energized on. If I get a signal, this happens. So we're on VGA. That is correct. Alright, is it the CPU? Luckily, I just happen to have my CPU right here. So I'm going to test mine, because I know mine works. Set up, has a FPU clock on it. Here we go. Nope. Ay, ay, ay. Can never have an easy one, can I? Alright, so my CPU goes back in books. I even have the other one with no caps that I still haven't fixed yet. We'll test that one because, believe it or not, this one works too. It'd be funny if this one worked and the real capped ones don't. Dead. Dead, 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 dead. I'm going to pop out the ROMs. This is just my preliminary checklist before I start hooking stuff up to it. Check the sockets. Good. If the Gennard is saying no, her legs got spread. There we go. Oh, good God. Okay, so I cleaned the daggone thing. Notice that the green is because my J500 is in 2 and 3, which is sync on green, so means beep and green. Okay? So if I move this back to 1 and 2 like it's supposed to be, nothing. I get a video sync signal. We get the red lines of ROM death. That sucks. What is it? Is it the ROM? Is it the CPU? Is it the whatever? Let's try my CPU again. Who the hell knows? We got ROMs at work. That was it. Bad CPU. So, boink. Let's see. Hey, I need a mouse. Plastic connector. Don't have to worry about any boo-boos. Have a mouse. Memory, 2 megs of chip. Test the RAM. CPU a poo-poo. But the caps look like death. So my CPU is working. And that means she just needs a clean and a cap, which is great. But it doesn't mean anything because I'm going to clean. Let me move this so I don't spill it. I'm going to clean this RAM with alcohol wipe, and a Scotch-Brite. Scotch-Brite really scrubs those pins clean. Had a lot of oxidation on them, a lot. And then another alcohol wipe with the same wet Q-tip, and you can really see the crap coming out of it. Look at that black. Just carbon buildup, scuzz, junk. 6 megs, so test the RAM. While that's running, that's good. That means 891 is working. Thank goodness. Green Scotch-Brite on the pins. Just not a lot of pressure. Just give them a hey. What's happening? Alcohol wipe running around. You'll see the black come off, and you are good to go. Another 4 megger. Bingo. F1. 8 megs. 2 megs chip. Let that go. Clean the last one. That'll be 12. This is a gold sim. This is Canadian. Must be maple syrup flavored. Wipe down. Oh yeah. Big goober thing came off of there. Yep. 14, 12 fast. Test the range. Let it go. This is your culprit. Fire up the Devoom TiVo here, devoom.com. I have to say it every time because so many people were asking me in the comments, where'd you get that speaker? Where'd you get that wall thing? Audio? Turn it up. Okay, hear that? Audio sucks. Why? Dirty connectors? No. These caps are all dried up. And ate up. Hard drive light's working, or power light's working fine. We're in high. But what we'll do is we'll do a recap and then we'll compare afterwards. First thing I'm going to recap is this CPU. I'm actually going to remove the caps and we're going to set the jumpers and we're going to try it. Well, here's a significant find. The FPU was literally melted to the socket. Either that or she's got acne like you wouldn't believe. So that's kind of nuts. In our case here, it was a bad CPU, missing jumpers, wrong set jumpers, dirty RAM sockets, ROMs that were either crusty, incorrectly, or screwed, and this CPU card. A combination of things. Want to take a breather for some real lunch for me. Don't know what I'm making yet. Probably just a turkey sandwich this time. Sorry, chicken lovers. It's like a week or so later. As you can tell, I'm wearing the shirt that Adam provided over top my Commodore shirt. So we're a little bit thick-skinned here. Hey, guess what's not squeaking? My chair, because I swapped my white one out for the red one that I normally use for my other chair in my home office. Last we left off, the 3630 here was just a little bit problematic. I ordered the components. I did put a crystal on this one, recapped it, and I ordered the two components, 74F38 and a 174. I got 10 of the Fairchild exact replicas, and I also ordered 100 of the 174As. These are the exact chips that were on the board. The 174s I had were for the 4000D U177, and you know, these were original Fairchilds also, and these are the exact chips that were on this board. So as my Ubuntu system decides it's going to upgrade the entire OS to a new version today, at the end of August here, when I'm filming this, I also managed to sprint layout myself the 4000 desktop so I can now trace pins and have it working so I can see what's going on. Now I can test things and have the pins work in Sprint layout on the 4000D. That way I don't have to bug the people at AmigaPCB.org, which is a wonderful site. 11:21 a.m. and my chair is starting to squeak. I guess because I'm too fat. Hey, it's 12:04. I got the two chips in. All the continuity checks out. I compared it against my working non-cap board. So that is going to go back in its bag. If this works, that board is successful, and then we'll continue on with its recap. Here we go. We're going to look for fan spin on this thing. I'll just lay it flat. Energize. I got a video signal, but same thing. It's stuck. And we have some weird crap cruising across the monitor. I don't know if you can really even see that on there like that. There's just some stuff you'll see periodically. It looks really weird. If I stick my head in the frame, you can see all over just some weirdness floating on by. So even with the replacement chips she's dead. Could be a bad CPU itself. The bus pins look like they've been all soldered on at one point or another. I have replaced both of the ICs on here as well as the capacitors, and the underneath of the FPU is literally melted. If you did not see that before, this is what it looks like underneath of that chip. As you can see, it is literally bubbled up like something happened, like excessive melt. You know, anything. The CPU could be fried. I don't know. These are QFPP CPUs, and they're always fun. Everything else works, so I know it's this CPU board. I'm going to start a recap on a job, and we'll see how far we get. Hi guys, Adam's bored another day. 11:29. I'm gonna gear up with some poultry first. Go fire down some fried chicken, you know it, and that way I have the energy and cholesterol needed to tackle these things. Now, as always, I use Lorena Bobbitt. Lorena Bobbitt is your friend. I am left-handed, so if I was to show you this, I would be in the way. So I'm going to lay this board away from me and show you this extremely. So I put my Lorena Bobbitt like this, right around the ring usually. Push down on the cap and give it a swift click. You're going to cut that cap right in half. In that capacitor are both of the legs that you left with their L. Okay, the L part. And that is going to leave a squished cap like this. See how it's all kind of squished? Now, if you're careful, you can pick this off, but it's hard to tell if you're getting caught up, right? You'll know if you're getting caught up because you're going to rip a leg off. So what I do is I give her another snip, just around the edge, maybe even two. And that's going to break that aluminum in several pieces. Now you can just peel this away. I'm trying to do this while filming, which is hard because I can't see anything. I'm looking in the viewfinder of the camera to see if I'm getting this, and hopefully I am. Yep, okay, so as you can see, I peeled it away. Now I have these two little nubs, so I'm going to go in. Now again, I am extending my hand so you can see it. I'm going to cut these little nipples off. Boop, boop. That gets them flush, and what that allows you to do is then simply move this out of the way without any lag. Okay? Now what you can do then is what I do. Your results may vary, okay, depending on your use or your ability. I usually will do a clean, flux, braid, remove, clean. So I'm just cleaning the area with some IPA on a Q-tip, just to get any scuzz off. Because our next step is going to reactivate the goop. Now I'm using a Kester 186 liquid no clean flux. I like it for general usage, not the paste. My iron I heat up to about 330 degrees, sometimes hotter if you need it. Okay? What you can do with your flux is you're just simply going to touch this and get the leg off. Okay? Yep, there it is. There it is. Why are my fingers always burnt up? So touch it and get the leg off. You don't want to have it on there for long, okay? Now, as long as you have enough flux on there, you can go back with some braid. You'll see my actions are quick and I'm off. Why? Because there is epoxy, you know, like glue, that holds these little pieces of metal onto the fiberglass board you see here. They're rated, when they're new, to about 600 degrees Celsius before the epoxy lifts. However, if you add 30 years and battery acid, heat cycles, abuse, neglect, it lowers. Now I'm going to take another Q-tip with isopropyl alcohol on here, and I'm just going to remove my flux. Now I'm left-handed, so I'm doing this right-handed, see? So you can see. And you will be left with some crustiness and hopefully both of your legs. Look at that.
Magic legs.
If they're not clean enough for you and you have some crust on them, you can take your fiberglass pen and kind of just go like this, and they'll come right bright again. You can never have too much alcohol because now there's a line there, and we'll just give her a clean. Alright. You can do the same thing with a fiberglass pen on your ground points here if you needed to. Now the rest of this board is in okay shape. Now when I mean okay shape, it's not perfect. C192, we always lose a leg on C192, so we're going to go in Lorena, cutting those legs down. That way you can just get this off there. Now you can really see the greening in here. You can see that there's a couple traces underneath here that need some attention. Alright, so you can see that the flux reactivates all of the acids that were the electrolytes of the capacitor. And now when you clean it, you're going to get some brown because of your flux, but look at all the crap coming out of there now. See that? That's all that old concrete stuff. Yeah, it looks wonderful, doesn't it? All that out of there. Flip her over to the clean air side, and as you can see, we still saved our pads, and we are clean to go for another day. You use the Lorena method and you take your time. It doesn't matter what cap it is or where it's at, you'll be able to get it off no problem. There we go. So look at this. Oh my goodness. She is really bad. But looks can be deceiving with battery crap. So as usual, bust out the old alcohol. I'm hoping I can get all the legs and pins cleaned up real nice. You can see they're a little better looking, but right here, that one's pretty jacked up, as is this one right here I'm over top of, and this guy. This looks like somebody just barfed all over it. We're going to clean this up and take a peek when it's all clean. Alright, just like that, through the magic of editing, McDonald's chicken nuggets and the power of Grayskull, we have some clean mofos. Now you're going to notice here, rip, every pad is Bristol bright and clear. A lot of the scuzz was taken out of here and here from a fiberglass pen. I didn't mess up the Paula. Paula has a little bit of crust, as does the video deck. Oops, you can't see that. So Paula has a little bit of crust on her, probably from these dripping on. I'm going to hit that with a fiberglass pen too. The video deck looks okay. There's usually no caps in the general vicinity of it. It's just 740, 74 logic around it. 12:02 p.m. The decoupling capacitors are literally really bad. They're horrible. All of them are leaking except the showy 16470 electrolytic through hole. Most of them just kind of rotted off. That one looks like it's been sitting in a puddle for a long time. Replace your caps, guys. They do leak. Don't go by a visual. That took a while and a lot of patience. But decoupling capacitors came out beautiful. Look at that. No pads lost at all. Okay, I got a little late start, but there you go. Here's the golden glory that I always take a break for. So that's the poultry cholesterol goodness that I represent with the fried chicken shirt. 2:30, and just like that, it's done. You can see all the red heads on my board. That's just my own marking system for knowing when I got a cap done. So I quickly look at the cap map and make sure that I have not missed any, because before I have missed a couple. It's 8:30, almost 9 o'clock. 891, she is green as the Titanic underneath. So I put a brand new Heiko tip on, and I'm going to replace the chip entirely. They blow out all the time. They are still a little crusty, but you can see some metal. Mainly what I'm trying to correct is the outer here and some of the scuzz towards the end of the pin here, but I have to be careful where it goes to these vias, because they are my last line of hope. So those holes in the center under the chip here and over here are my last line just like that. U891 has been replaced. Turned out okay. Got some flux wash on it, that's why she looks a little damp. Okay, so I'm set up. I got 3 CPUs here. My CPU that works, my CPU that gives red screens, and the owner's CPU. Say 4,000, 314s. My ROMs come up instantly. Let me go see what Cujo's doing. Hear this. Hear this date. We're jamming through the future all the way to 2080. But if I simply stick my finger on the clock chip, it stops. So it looks like we got some cold solder busts. So I removed the clock chip here. Underneath the board, as usual with battery crap, is acid damage. You can see a couple traces here. They no longer have continuity. I guess that would be our cause. It's the Jelly of the Month Club, the gift that keeps on giving. Here in the usual scuzz department of a 4000, I took out the clock chip and the corresponding resistor pack, because on pin, I think it's 2 here, is supposed to go to pin 4 of the resistor pack. Better angle, you can see the 8-up traces right north of those 3 holes. While this board did not look like it had crap for battery acid damage, it did. There's a little bit of schmutz down here, not too bad. A lot of this is just overflux residue from me cleaning out holes and stuff. So after a couple of hours, because interruptions and whatever, I managed to channel my Swiss watchmaking skills and run 2 super micro mofos. Now I'm going to add a socket 4-side clock chip. So we have a new clock chip here, RP5C01 Alpha. It is an upgrade fix for the Ryco RP5C01. Alright, so as you can see over here, so the green and the red here, Christmas trees, were my 2 5 and 4 of the resistor pack, the 4 and 3 of the lower left pins here. I know it's not 4 and 3 if you count them correctly, but it doesn't matter. It's the 4th and the 3rd from the bottom. That's how I do, that's my math, toilet paper math. I did notice underneath that the trimmer capacitor has been soldered on like somebody was welding junkyard doors on a car. It's pretty thick and way too big. I do have these, but I don't think that's the cause, because if I touch U177, it seems to be fine. So now our hours are not jumping around. So now the clock has been fixed. There you go, rock on clock. If you're in the old Eurozone, you're going to notice that it looks like it's the 9th of February, 92. No, here in America, where Jesus lives, we do things a little differently. Our date is in the month, day, year format based on our locale here of, United States. September 2nd, 1992 for me. September 2nd, 1992. And it's holding. 1216 on the old boing ball that I moved to the other side. And it's a little crooked for speed. I'm going to go grab a poultry product because, it's that time of day. Hasn't been but, what, 15 hours since I fired some down? Going for the old cholesterol record. This is another Amiga test kit. I don't know if it's 1.2 or 1.8. It is 1.8. So here we go. We're going to test the memory we have. You can see here now that the RAM controller has been replaced. We have fast RAM again, and we have 2 megs of chip, 12 meg of fast. I'm going to test the chip RAM first. I like to let this go to about 4. So as you can see, it's at 5.4. Okay, so we have some errors here. Test each memory module individually. We know the chip RAM is good, right? We know that's good. So I'm going to pull 8 megs out. We're going to boot her again, and then we're going to test each individual little RAM socket. So this is 4 megs, and then we'll test it, and then I'll swap that out, put the other one in the same spot, test it, repeat. I have a feeling there's one chip in here that is gold, and it's Canadian, so that could be the problem. Bingo, damn Canadian RAM. Same exact error. So it's got some weird crap in here. I'm going to take this RAM out, and now I know we have a bad sim, so I'm going to cancel this and back this out. It's possible it's just the sockets are, so, I mean, they are just hanging in there. They're in there, Yeah, that's it. I got this socket's bad, so let me turn this off and just barely touch it, turn it back on. Now I'm not holding the socket, we're hands-free, and we're going to let it boot again. Let's see, do we have RAM? Yes, we have 8 megs of RAM. So we're going to test just the fast RAM entirely now. You know what, let's just go test all the RAM. Just let her eat, and I'll check back in a minute. Good enough, she's good, we pass. Owner's CPU right here. Whoops, bad sim, bad ROMs. Possibly bad ROMs. What happens? Nothing happens. Nothing happens at all because this CPU is toast. So I'm going to go back to my CPU here. So apparently we have crappy ROMs. This is my CPU, okay? So EC030 or regular 030, I don't know what it is. Speed, I want to see what my FPU clock is. I think it's supposed to be 28-ish. It's a 33 megahertz chip. 25 megahertz CPU. I don't know what it would be. We are getting FPU 4.33. It does work good. Amiga 4000 040 doesn't touch it. It is about the equivalent almost of a 68030 on the 3000. So 0.89 times. Of course, we only have DF2 because it is external. If I do the jumper, it will be DF1. Memory, we have 8 megs of 32-bit fast and 2 megs of chip. Naturally, I don't know, something's either up with the processor because it looks like it's been beat on. Like the solder points on here have they're just rough all around. Mine are nice and smooth, but my other card doesn't even work. Do I risk taking CPUs off? Do I even do that? No, I don't do that. I can't. I'm not destroying my stuff to fix someone else's destroyed stuff. So, we have a working Amiga 4000 again. We have RAM, we have CPU, we have bus, we have low-high here with my CPU card. I'm going to reboot this machine one more time, and we are going to go into the magic mouse button window. And we're going to go into display options, and we're going to flip this to PAL, best available, use, boot options, DF2, hit it, and boot. I gotta test the controller. I could have done it with a Amiga test kit, but oh yeah, I can feel it. Okay, so it's working. The Amiga is working. So just be wary of this RAM socket. Be very careful with it. They're hanging on by a thread. I might even put a piece of tape across them for you. Or a dab of hot glue. I don't know. Just an idea to hold them in there. Maybe a dab of hot glue on the corner. And another Amiga has been saved. Unfortunately, I am unable to fix on the owner's 030, EC030. I squirted it down, I lubed it, I even put another set of jumpers on it for the enable disable. I replaced both of the logic chips that I had to custom order. Nothing seemed to work. They were all 8 up. I did continuity test all of them. All the pins were there and making contact, so it could actually be a bad CPU itself. It is extremely soldered all over, and maybe it was replaced in the past, or maybe it hasn't ever worked. I don't know. But anyway, that is all I got for now. Thank you guys for coming along on this repair journey, and until next time, thanks for watching, and hope you learned something.